56 hours and 27 minutes of straight sound design is what it took to finish a 90-second short film about a Dota video game.
And the time has finally come for us to reveal the first place winner. Who won the Dota 2 short film contest?
It's not very often that we go back into our projects and we look at what it is that we've learned. You know, the things that we can extract, the important things that moved the project forward, and find the things that are worth keeping for the next project. Because it's when we build our mental arsenal of tricks, tips, technique, that we actually feel like we're progressing. So for those of you who kept up with this series, this is episode 8. And if you want to see what the final product looks like, I'm going to play it at the end of this video, so make sure you watch this all the way through. Day 1, we actually started. And when I say started, I don't mean like physically, like we entered the software, did any of that stuff. I mean, day 1, we got the word we're working. Michael said, hey, Joey, I need a sound designer. I said, okay, project on its way. There was no meeting with the director. There was no creative expectations set, which are very important when you're starting a project. And so in situations like that, where you don't know what to expect and you're not sure about what direction to go, the most logical thing you can do is not to study, is not to ask questions, but to jump the fuck in. Take everything you were given and create something. Start downloading shit, start syncing shit, start making shit happen. Get to know what you're dealing with. I know people hate hearing that, and I did when I first started. People would tell me all the time, Joey, just jump in, just start doing stuff. Like, what does that even mean? Literally shut up and go. And honestly, I think the reason I hated that is because that's the literal next step. And so when I started to take on the responsibility of taking action and really just say, fuck it, the easier my life got down the road. If you're still the person who is asking questions and trying to get clarity and is in analysis paralysis and just can't jump in, you have to just go. And I think that's the takeaway from day 1, you know, the baptism by fire experience. So the next couple of days, we started crafting shit. We're starting to get this piece and we're starting to give it life. And as creatively free as that sounds, we did use systems and we did use structure. Now, I know that sounds completely opposite from what I said 2 seconds ago about just the ability to jump in without any planning, but when you actually start making shit and you start jumping in, you do come up to these obstacles, these creative blocks, these creative walls that are hard to get past unless you have some kind of structure or system. And one of the things that has become very important for me is creating some kind of step-by-step process that I can use on every project and follow it as if I was a robot. And it's those systems and those step-by-step processes that have allowed me to plow through these obstacles that naturally come up as I start creating. And for example, after cutting so many projects, I've narrowed down 7 things that I do every single time I sound design a project. But by creating this checklist of things that I need to do, it creates a very clear roadmap, or at least clear enough for me to see the next step and take the right next step. And that's what allows me really to get to the end of the project more quickly and more accurately. And so what am I babbling about? I think my point is to create a good plan, it does require you to jump in head first. So yes, structure and planning is very important, and it is something we used on this entire project, even though we were thrown in with nothing. And this was the first time I've actually documented the entire creative process on something like this with the intent on giving some raw fucking material and value to those who want to do this kind of shit. From the highs of creative breakthrough, from the lows of system failures, I really hope this serves as some kind of guide. And as stupid and dramatic as that sounds, I would have loved to have somebody who just pointed a camera and recorded everything, and I got to watch it literally tick for tack, minute for minute, second for second, what they did, how they thought, and why they made the decisions they made. Even if they were emotional or illogical or not rational at all, I still would have loved to see it. And so not only do you get to see the good stuff for me, but you get to see the bad stuff too. And so I think that's kind of what I've learned from this project. Now, what happened with this project? What happened after distribution? It was completed and it was entered into a Dota film competition. And with Dota having a fan base of over like 500,000 people, the competition was high. And out of maybe a couple thousand entries, we placed 3rd.
In our 3rd spot, it was done live action, which is extremely rare. Congratulations to Fierce Lego Link. I mean, the costumes, the set design, everything about that, and the live steer itself, absolutely incredible. But coming in 2nd place,
Michael probably walked away with like $5,000 or something, which we aren't happy with. We want 1st place, but shit happens. But what was even cooler than that was that this film premiered in a stadium in Japan that seated over 30,000 people. And on top of that, the actual live stream got a shit ton of views. And streamers within the fan base actually streamed their reactions to the film.
What is this, real?
So even though we didn't get 1st place, even though there were all these fucking issues that we had to deal with, it's still a win. And what makes it even more of a win is that if you could learn from all the shit that I fucked up with, that way you don't have to go through it and waste time like I did. I hope you learned something from it. I hope it was fun. And without further ado, this is what we created.
I think he's gone.
If you like this video and you want to learn more about the sound design process and what it takes to achieve results like this, you can watch part 1 of sound designing this short film right here.